Huh? Dig! Huh? Huh? Dirt!
Hey now, and welcome down to KCToyreviews. We are here today with Darkstar by Infamous, aka Cull Obsidian from Infinity EnDgame. Now, I can't stress enough, this is one big, gigantic figure, and you will see in the next shot just how big he is, but overall, this is one fantastic piece. And of course, to top it all off, he completes the Black Order. So, as always, let's go ahead, fine-comb those details, and dive right the hell goddamn in. Alright, so here we are, and obviously the first shot is just so everybody understands the massive scale of the Darkstar, aka Cull Obsidian. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the accuracy of his scale, but next to Thanos, and once he's mixed with the Black Order, which I do have a separate video of that up now, he does look appropriate. And as you could tell with the initial first observations, he is goddamn huge. Okay, so putting scale aside, taking a look at the head sculpt, the chest piece, the bandolier across the chest there. It actually is a little bit of a pleather piece you have here. The rest of it seems to be almost kind of imprinted on there. And as far as the initial observation, I mean, I think everything looks fantastic. I didn't have high expectations that articulation was going to be crazy on this guy. Now, clearly, he's going to have only single-jointed elbows, but for what we use him for and what we need, it works perfectly in my opinion. The armor does rest on top of him, so it's actually a loose piece of armor that's printed and put over him. Paint applications, overall look, slight weather into it is very, very nice. Now, this giant Warhammer axe here, same thing. I mean, it's nothing to rave about. I would say that out of everything, it was probably the thing that I was most disappointed about. Something about the paint application on it was just nothing thrilling. And I do want to stress, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. There's just a slight dull kind of look and feel to it, and it doesn't necessarily look metal. And again, it might be one of those things where somebody rolls their eyes and says, well, clearly it's painted. Well, I've seen paint applications that do look like metal, so this one did fill me with a slight disappointment, but it was nothing that I kept harping on in my mind as I continued loving this figure. He holds the weapon nice. It might have been a pain in the ass to get it in the hand a little bit over here. I mean, you really had to jam it in there. But other than that, once it's in hand, the overall look is fantastic and badass. Now, as we start to make our way down the legs here, I just want to note, not everything is 3D printed. We do have a nice rubbery-ish material that wraps around the legs, which in my opinion adds a nice contrast between the printed armor around him and the leg pieces itself. There also is this really nice cloth that drapes down from his belt here. So this piece was a nice touch, has a nice kind of weathering-ish look to it, and overall it was just a really cool add-on. There's nothing to rave about in the realm of articulation. It does what he needs. It balances pretty well. I will note that. There's no stand that comes with it, but overall he does balance pretty well. And there is a cut in the boot down there, so there is slight articulation, but again, I just need to stress the weight, what you're going to do with him really rounds out well, and it's everything you're going to need on this guy. And there we have it. The Darkstar by Infamous, aka Cull Obsidian, from the Black Order. Now, as I've mentioned several times, the overall impressions are this thing is badass. Has a nice shelf presence, might be a little bit overscaled, but if anybody remembers the Underground King, which was a kingpin that just looks like a goddamn skyscraper, will then be a little bit more forgiving when you see this guy. Because once he's up with the whole crew, again, I have a separate video of that, he doesn't look that bad. He was bigger than Thanos, and once you have all 5 of the Black Order together, it just looks absolutely fantastic. There's not too many gripes on this guy other than saying that, yeah, he might feel a little clunky in hand as far as the joints moving him around a little bit, but he does the job. It's everything that I did expect from this figure, and that's a good thing because there is not too much disappointment. We have a nice contrast between materials right from the feet all the way up to the head. We have the cloth piece that's hanging down on the belt, we have the rubber leggings, and then we have the armor that's layered on top of that, and of course his alien reptilian-ish skin. The head sculpt is pretty good. Again, piss poor articulation in that head sculpt. You could basically just turn it left and right. I couldn't even really move it up and down. And then you have that badass weapon. Might have had a dull paint scheme, but it's nothing that I'm going to complain about too much as he sits towering over the rest of the Black Order. So with all that said, as far as a score on this guy, what comes to mind is a 7.7 out of 10. As I did mention, he has a very clunky feel to him. He does seem to be a little bit oversized, and other than just kind of towering in the background, as far as articulation goes, he can't do too much. But for what I want, that's not a complaint. For others, it might be. That's something you're going to have to weigh out as you decide if you're going to want to purchase this figure. But the overall look of him is menacing, it's badass, the paint scheme's pretty good throughout, and I am very, very excited to have this guy in my collection. To finally have the Black Order all together is one of the most exciting 1/6 accomplishments I've felt in a long time. So much so that my first thought was I will never sell these things. And well, at around $200 to $300, this is a towering piece. He is very expensive. He might be right around $200 to $300, but the shipping is going to run you another $100 to $200, depending on what method you use. So do I think it's worth it? Well, yeah, I do. I think he's really worth it. Just having the Black Order in 1/6 is going to be a rare thing, and down the road, I would guess that the prices will go up unless somebody else redoes this line. So, at a 7.7, we're going to go ahead and sign off here today. With Cull Obsidian being a towering badass member of the Black Order, I cannot wait to get this guy off the spinning table, right back onto my shelves. And now after completing the Black Order, it is probably one of the best centerpieces of my collection. So that's going to be it here for us today at KC Toys. Cull Obsidian, the Dark Star. See you guys next time.
Oh.